Hey, what is up, everyone? It is Rich. All right, welcome to Super Fun Sunday. Today, we are going to look at Star Wars. We're going to look at 3 issues from the 19. I want to say this is 78, even though the movie came out in 77. We'll see when we get inside. I can't remember if these books came out like right at the exact time of the movie, but we'll see. And then I grabbed two of the Al Williamson classic. I think they're called Classic Star Wars Illustrated. So it should be fun. We're going to look at 3 issues of the OG. We're going to look at issues 1, 2, and 6. Kind of picked them randomly. I figured 1 and 2 will get us into the story. 6 is kind of the finale, so that'll be kind of fun. And then of the classic, I grabbed issues 1 and 2. So quick updates. I am 4 pages away from finishing Crystal Planet. I announced it yesterday on Instagram. It is coming to an end. My hope is to be done by Friday. This is very exciting for a lot of different reasons. But look, the reality is when this is done, I mean, I'm already like I'm what do you like I'm being debriefed or preparing for everything that I'm taking on in my own way. What I mean by that is just it's like each day it's getting harder and harder for me to work on that book because I'm so excited about being able to finally be free to do what I want to do, which is Blaster Kid. I want to focus on YouTube. I want to focus on Patreon. So this is all going to be incredibly important, and it's really what I've worked for the last 6 years. To be honest, is my freedom from just having to work, for other people. And thanks to all of you, it actually will come true, which is pretty cool as my cats start to fight. Hey guys, come on, this is important. But anyway, what I was gonna say is yeah, make sure that you hit the like, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. It's a lot of people that have followed my stuff for a long time, they always go, man, like it's crazy you don't have more subscribers, or it's crazy that you aren't more well known. I don't really worry about that, to be honest, because the thing is it's all what I've been doing really is planting seeds. The seeds are all planted, whether people realize it or not. It's ready to go. All I need to do is water them, and they're all going to grow now. So we've done all the hard work, and anyone that's here, honestly, I thank you really from the bottom of my heart for supporting me and hanging out. I always consider this like the club years. You can go, I remember when Rich would post videos and get like 30 views, because we all experienced that whole arc with my channel, but I built it up the good old fashioned way, elbow grease, and just sticking to it and being consistent. Sorry, let's get into this. Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I would credit Star Wars as probably being one of the more influential things in my life in terms of just who I am as a person, my creativity, my interest in fantasy and science fiction and drawing and just being like a creative person, and also design and things like that. So this will be really, really fun. I actually originally purchased this as a Marvel Treasury edition. I still have it. I actually have all of them, and then I've got a huge run of these Star Wars comics. So and honestly, as we when I once I finish Crystal Planet, I'll be doing YouTube full time. I mean YouTube and Patreon, and then working on Blaster Kid, and I'm going to show a lot of my collection and things that I have, and on top of it, I'm actually going to be selling about probably 50% of my books, to be honest, and a lot of collectibles and stuff that I've acquired over the years. I don't want it anymore, and it's just taking up space that I don't have. So it's going to be really fun. I'm actually going to sell about 300 or 400 pages of art. Really, really cool stuff. So anyway, let's focus on this now. So anyway, adapted from the George Lucas film. I actually mentioned this briefly in a video recently. So when I was a kid and I got this Marvel Treasury size edition of Star Wars, for some weird reason I was determined to be able to type out the whole script of all this text and have it as like a written thing that I guess I could take with me and not mess up the comic. I don't really know what the motivation for it was, but my mom had an electric typewriter, and I would at night sit at the typewriter and try to type all of this stuff out. And me being who I am, I'm super meticulous. I don't know what the word would be. I don't. I wouldn't say that I have OCD. I think that's giving myself way too much of a cool label. But it had to be perfect or it wasn't good enough. And so this is a lot of stuff to type. I never was able to complete it, sadly. I'd always have a typo somewhere and be like, gotta start over. Kind of funny. Whiteout. Look, and I've actually joked about this, but it is true. On my black drawings, I refuse to use any whiteout. If I didn't get through the piece perfectly, then that was not a success in my book. But I've obviously I've maintained a professional career for many years. So one of my favorite bad guys, I don't know what you call them, chess pieces, are stormtroopers. I think they're so cool looking. The beginning of this movie was absolutely terrifying. If you ever saw it when you were a kid, it was like, man, I'd never seen anything like that. And the white hallway with those white stormtroopers coming in and they're shooting all the guards, and then Vader comes in. Spoiler alert, no. Kidding. Hopefully you've all seen Star Wars, A New Hope. But it was intense, but in a good way. Oh my god. So yesterday I was working, and I was listening to, I'm a big fan of like really really good summaries and analysis of movies and video games and stuff like that. And so I was watching, I think his channel was called Jay's Reviews. He was I think I had searched like what made the original Star Wars movies great, something like that. And it was about a 45-minute video. It was quite interesting. He's a pretty well-spoken guy. And it was interesting. So when I was finished with that, though, I put on a little bit of the first movie, or I don't know, maybe it was another review. I couldn't get over how good the sound was. The actual sound effects, the ships, Vader's breathing, the music, everything. Well, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I was so impressed by that. I was working, so I couldn't watch it. But just listening, I was like, man, this is one of the best sounding movies. And it was amazing how much sensory like deja vu it gives you hearing it. Just, it was really incredible. The robot sounds, the sounds of doors opening is really, really well done. You know, it's maybe one of those things that isn't credited. I know the music is, obviously, but the actual sound in Star Wars is really, really great. This is such a great scene. So we've got Howard Chaykin on art for this. Was Roy Thomas interpreted the script. This is great. Really, really cool. This is quite loose art, you know. He's going in and just knocking it out. If you look over here, let me grab my little pointer. Brush, I probably got some wacky brush. Sorry, the floor here is actually pretty interesting. That's like, there's a long way to do the floor, and there's a fast way to do the floor. He knocked it out the fast way, but it still works. It still looks cool, but you could go in and really make this tight, and you know, it's really kind of your own call if you're an artist, what route you want to take with that. It's interesting too is when the books got into the stuff after the movie, it was like after issue 6, from 7 to 37, I think, are all creative stuff, and then I think 38 through 41 is Empire Strikes Back. I could be off on the numbers, but anyway, but yeah, it's interesting, but it was a trip as a kid to be reading the comics and then be going like, wow, that's really weird. Like there's all these characters that I don't know and stuff like that. It was interesting though to me. This is nice. It's really nice art. It'll be really fun to see Al Williamson after this too. But like I said, we're gonna look at 3 of these. So here's Vader. Vader's tough to draw. Not like in a basic sense, but the subtleties of Vader's mask and stuff like that, because of the way that's actually constructed. It's a lot of shapes, and the real mask is not symmetrical. Like this side is different than this side. the way it's built. Yeah, this is cool. They look a little flat. I mean, and again, these are complicated shapes. These smooth cylinders and ellipses and stuff like that on the Stormtroopers things. The hardest angle to really nail them at would be a front view. I think this is the most successful because he was able to pull. He pulled the shapes out more, so the silhouette of the mask is more accurate. These look a little too nondescript, and like this one kind of they look a little flat, but. I'm trying to remember. Wasn't there a mistake with the Star Wars comic or one of them that it came out like didn't it hit the shelves before the movie? Something weird like that. Let me know if you remember what that story is. And the Jawas, these characters are all so freaking cool, man. This is awesome. This is so great. My favorite are the Tusken Raiders, though. Man, I think that's such a badass looking bad guy, or whatever you want to call it. Misunderstood desert person. Look at R2. He's doing a little dance right outside the panel. You go, R2. Break that panel border. Nothing's going to hold you back. All right, what do we got? I don't know why, but this name keeps coming to my head as Bib Fortuna. Has nothing to do with what we're looking at, but that's a funny name. You gotta wear a bib, Fortuna. All right, come on. What do we got? This is annoying me, but it's all right. All right. Yeah, see, Vader got very flat here too. He's not bad with likenesses. Here's Bill Murray. I'm being silly. It's not Bill Murray. I know it's not him. He was in Empire. He's thinking. Has there been like is Marvel in the last 20 years done any other retelling of the New Hope story? I don't know. Maybe like John Cassaday or something. Did he do it? The original movie? Would be interesting to see a new, like a different artist do it. I don't know who I would want to see draw it. Yeah, man, Vader is so cool. Look at Vader here. He turned into like some weird thing. I don't even know what that is. He looks a little like Blue Beetle. He's drinking milk though. That's good. Good for you, Vader. It's like, Rich, this is supposed to be a serious movie. You shouldn't be mocking Star Wars. Trust me, I'm not. I actually love Star Wars. So when I was a kid, I had R5D4, and I don't know why. What it was is, so there was only 2 toy stores in my neighborhood where I grew up, unless you got to go to the mall. But the mall was probably 5 or 10 miles from my house, so it wasn't like as like a little kid, you were only going to the mall with like your mom or something like on the weekend. There was a toy store about maybe 7 or 8 blocks from my house, but they wouldn't have a lot of Star Wars toys. As soon as they'd probably get like one case, and then they would sell out. And so I remember getting like Greedo and R5D4. Which I was happy with. I kind of always liked R5D4. I got love for R5. This is like if you have the trading card, there's the dirty C3PO card. We don't know what was going on with him that day. I have the Wonder Bread cards. I don't know if you guys have seen those. They're not. I'm surprised that they're not more rare. I actually bought like 5 sets of them years ago, but I'd had them as a kid and wanted to get them again, and so I was at a show and I saw them. But you can still get a set for fairly affordable. It's maybe 20 cards, but yeah. And then they had the blue border cards, the red border, the green, the yellow. Those were the shit, man. This movie was so good. I mean, the first 2 in particular are excellent. I like Return of the Jedi. Just there's it's a little. I mean, it has some stuff that is a little more challenging. It was getting more commercial. And I do find it interesting too that George Lucas, he had such a successful thing, and he was able to step away from directing the film for the second one. I mean, that's to me so crazy, because there's so much like ego involved in Hollywood, and just like that control. The fact that he knew that it would be better off in someone else's hands is pretty incredible. I mean, people, sometimes criticize George Lucas, but these are my dudes. The Bantha too. Oh, it's funny they gave him kind of pink skin. Trying to remember, their hands are bandaged up, aren't they, in the movies? I haven't seen the movie in a little while. A lot of times, although I don't know how they would have done it in 1977, I mean, I guess there might have been beta video. I don't think VHS. Well, I don't think was around yet, but it might be possible that they gave Chaikin like a beta version of this, or I don't even know. But yeah, I don't know how he laid this all out. His Luke looks a little old, but he's pretty consistent with how he draws him, and it works. Like I'm not hating this actor as Luke. We'll say. This is nice. He really draws well. I'll share a quick Howard Chaykin story. So, I'd always heard that Howard Chaykin is like he doesn't pull punches. Like he's a very direct guy. He's no nonsense. He's, you know, high standards, the whole 9 yards. So he visited Wildstorm one time, and generally speaking, I'm not very what would you call it? Like I'm not gonna go. Some people are very like they don't know their boundaries. Like, I'm a professional. I'm working in a professional art studio, and guests would come through. And my job as an artist isn't to go bother them when they're getting a tour or something like that. So I was always respectful of that. Not everyone played by those same parameters. What the hell's going on? Here it is. But I happened to bump into them when they were in the hallway, and so they introduced me to him, and he goes, what's your name? And I said, Richard. And he said, Richard what? And I was like, oh, shit. I felt like I was in trouble, like I was in the principal's office. And I said, Richard Friend. And he goes, you're Richard Friend? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you're really good, man. And I was like, wow, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But he had seen me ink oh god, like someone on America's Best Comics. It was probably in the early 2000s, but it was a big compliment. That's kind of one of the best professional compliments I've gotten, because again, when you know someone hates everything and then they think you're good, that actually means more. It's like Ashley Wood likes my stuff. That means more to me than sometimes other compliments, just because I know Ash is picky. And he doesn't like everything. Let's put it that way. All right, so what do we got? Swing that lightsaber, Ben. Old Ben. And or we're finished. Ben's got this, Luke. He might be old, but he ain't that old. All right, so these opened a little weird. I don't know what's going on. Oh, here we go. Look at that. That is a nice page. These originals are fairly collectible now. So anyway, we've got Steve Leiloa, I guess, Tom Orzechowski on letters. But yeah, Steve's doing a very nice job on when they credit embellishing. That usually means that they're doing finishes, which would mean that Chaykin may have broke this stuff down and not done full pencils. It's not to say that he did, to be clear. But anyway, and then we've got Roy Thomas as the script editor. On one of the comic YouTube channels, it's escaping my mind. It might have been Dan Frega's channel. They interviewed Roy Thomas not too long ago, which is really, really cool. It was quite interesting. It's just been long enough where I can't remember what channel it was on though, so I apologize for that. But I think it was Dan. I don't know. All right, so we've got the Tuscan Raiders running around. Do you call them Sand People or do you call them Tuscan Raiders? I generally call them Sand People, but if I'm saying it out loud, I always say Tuscan Raiders. It's weird. Ah, man, Sideshow did these fantasy versions of. Well, they did a fantasy version of Obi-Wan. I can't think of what they were called. Star Wars. They were like what they did is they blended Ewan McGregor with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they gave him all this like stuff. Like he's wearing like a pack with like all these like lightsabers and like cool shit in it. I wanted to get it so bad. I just I missed out on it when it came out, and then it got expensive. At some point, I may treat myself to that because it's like you have those like the one collectible that got away. That's kind of one that sticks in my mind. Um, that I always regretted that I didn't grab, but hopefully, you know, if I have some success over the next couple of years, I'll be able to pick up a few little sort of mementos of all my hard work. I'm really sacrificing a lot going into Blaster Kid, to be honest. I mean, like I said, I'm going to sell about 400 pages of art, half my comic book collection. This is just you know, I had said I will give everything to do this book, so this is cool. That's the perks of collecting and working in comics for a long time, is you end up with a stockpile of stuff. Some of it has to get sent back over from Japan, believe it or not. There's 100 pages of art that an art dealer has of mine over in Japan that I want back. Like, made the email this morning. I was like, I need the art. I've got Blaster Kid coming. We need to fuel the fires. This was a pretty brutal scene. Home. You don't want to go home, Luke. It's not going to be good. His eyes are too close together. That's what's making it look weird. Is there's like just a little tiny gap. This one needs to be over here. That would help. Maybe it's possible, although I unlikely, that the letterer moved it over so he'd have room for the word balloon. I've seen weird stuff like that happen. Not on anything I've worked on, but it wouldn't shock me back in like the 70s or early 80s. They're like, we need room. It's like cut and paste. That is a really, really cool panel right there. Don't forget, we got Al Williamson coming up. We're going to do one more book of this, and then we're going to get into Mr. Williamson. These are nice. He did a pretty good job on these. This is great, too, right out of the movie. I had the Jawa playset, and then this. I didn't have a ton. I didn't have, like, I wasn't, like, my family was struggling, or, well, I lived with my dad at this time. I didn't have a lot of stuff. Let's put it that way. But I did save my money, and I got this, and I had the Jawa playset. It was like $7, I think, at the time. I paid for it with pennies. I had saved up a bunch of pennies and rolled them and took them to the toy store. The lady was probably like, "Oh God, this kid is pathetic." But you know what I was? I was a pathetic kid with a Jawa playset. That's what I was. This is cool. Okay, what do we got? Chewie. Chewbacca's tricky to draw. This is okay. This is not as good. I've drawn Chewbacca one time. I did a real good job with it. I was surprised because I wasn't sure how it would go. Hairy creatures like this. The problem with Chewbacca is that there's not a lot of structure in the face. I mean, there's a proportional sort of makeup that will land it, and then you really have to hit these shapes. But it's a lot of subtleties with a furry animal face like that. And yeah, if you don't hit it right, like if the planes aren't there, it will look weird. That's really good right there. Really good. Oh, man. So I was actually pretty happy when they made Han Solo shoot first. No, I'm just kidding. Like, you're dead to me, Rich. You're dead. That could have been the first. Was that the first political correctness adjustment? I don't know. It was kind of interesting. Like, I haven't read the books, but Terry Brooks wrote a series of books that I loved as a kid called the like Sword of Shannara, Elfstones of Shannara, etc. And Terry wrote a bunch of Star Wars books, and I think that that's really really cool because Terry Brooks was a big deal to me as a kid. I was kind of into the Lord of the Rings stuff, but not super deep. I thought it was cool, but it was they were a little more challenging to read than some stuff. They seemed to be more dense. Terry, the sort of Shannara and stuff like that was a little easier to get through at a young age. Um, but yeah, it was kind of neat. There's Greedo. So, one time I actually used the Force to buy beer when I was underage. I'll share the story because this was pretty funny. So we were probably in high school, and I was able to grow not a beard, but I had more facial stubble than some of my friends. So they would always have me try to go buy beer, and we had one liquor store where we could get beer. And I don't recommend underage drinking, to be clear. This was a one-time thing. It only happened once. Stop fighting. Sorry, my cats are fighting. Stop. Seriously, kick your ass. I'm bigger than both of you. And anyway, so I went in and the guy he asked me, he said, well, I need to see your ID. And I swear to God, this is 100% true. I said, you don't need to see my ID. And he repeated back, I don't need to see your ID. And he sold me the beer. I don't know what I swear that's a true story. It was crazy. I walked out and I was like, did that just happen? And I don't like it was way after Star Wars. So there's no way like he didn't get the reference and then just go along with it. It was really weird. So I don't know. The Force could be a real thing. I'm just saying that I might have wielded it one time in my life. This is such a classic shot. I would recommend though if you're gonna draw Harrison Ford, don't use this pose. It's maybe been done a little too much. This is the comic though; it's different. He must have gotten some still photos. Like they must have had promo photos that they gave him for some stuff. I know Drew Struzan had talked about that. Is that you could like he would go into the archives and be able to like I don't know, make photocopies of stuff like this. But I would imagine that this is pretty under lock and key. Now I'm seeing dice right here. I'm like, is that in the movie? Let me know. That's another thing. I don't remember that. If that's very weird, but maybe it is. And then we got this. This is nice. I love these ship designs too. I mean, they were so creative. The Imperial ships, the Millennium Falcon, X-wing Tie fighters. I mean, they were all really, really just fresh, cool looking things. And the fact that they used the models for them, I really think made them look just exceptionally cool on the movie. This is nice. And then this is cool. He was funny. He went real simple on the bottom of the ship. Wouldn't have took that much longer to put in a little bit of detail, but I think it was more of a like just one of those calls that you make. Let's see. All right, so we'll get 6, and then we're gonna get into the Al Williamson stuff. So this will be fun. This is just a light, super fun Sunday. We're not getting super deep today. I almost was gonna bail out on it, and I was like, you know what? We're so close to this exciting moment that I kind of want to be with you guys. It sounds weird, but it does. It's like, you know, I'm just excited to be able to draw Blaster Kid and to be able to do YouTube. That's what I'm going to be doing. That's my work. And then Patreon. It's pretty damn cool. All right, so issue 6. This is the soul-shattering climax of the year's best movie. Oh, I forgot to look at the date inside. Today you die, Luke Skywalker. This is your final battle. He's like, nope, sorry. All right. Oh, look at that. All right, so let's see. Do they have the date? No, because these are reprints, so it doesn't have the original indicia, unfortunately. So we've got Howard Chaykin still doing the storytelling. Now the embellishers on this are Rick Hoberg and Bill Ray, and even the lettering has changed. And this is slightly more heavy-handed than the other stuff. They might have been in a pinch. Look, when you're working on a project like this, professionally speaking, they want this stuff out on the shelves as fast as possible because they want to sell comic books, and that's how the companies make money. And so, you wanting to do your best work is a nice goal. Their goal is to have it looking nice, but their goal is to have it for sale. So you never know what's going on. This is really well done, though. It looks great. It shows that Chaykin had a tremendous amount of discipline. The stuff that, any licensed stuff is a little tedious because they can come back with a lot of corrections. Hey, the helmet's not right, the ship isn't right, you're missing this, you're missing that. A lot of eyes on these books. A lot of times it's not just your editor, but you've got someone at the company, sometimes multiple people at the company, and they don't know comics or like what it is. So they'll give you like weird, this is kind of Kirby-esque. They'll give you weird feedback. Those are challenging jobs. It's funny, I originally wasn't going to work today, but I'm so excited to be finished with Crystal Planet. I'm actually, as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to work for like 4 hours and just get going on these final 4 pages. I had stuff that I need to do for just to prepare for the next few months. Like I said, it's been tricky because every day I want to be working on Blaster Kid, and so I've been doing stuff that I can do in shorter amounts of time. But I just have to stay focused and be disciplined till the end of Crystal Planet. I have to end on an upswing, not, oh, I wanted to get it done. That's bad. Not professional, so. Yes, my lord. I don't know if I would know how to spell my lord. I'm trying to think what I would have done. I think I might have done this, my lord. Like a M apostrophe? I don't know. Milord, I would think it looks like a name or like a word. Maybe Milord is a word, and I just never realized that it wasn't like my lord. Da 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 da. Oh, sorry. I skipped to the end of the movie. Even the Death Star, like these, I don't know what they call them, like the channels or whatever, they have to fly through. That was so cool. I think my favorite, well, the TIE Fighter with the two orbs, I kind of like those. I have a toy of that. Actually, it's kind of, yeah, I've been kind of considering sort of remodeling my office. I'm going to put a lot of Blaster Kid stuff up, but I might put some Star Wars toys in my office. It's just a little inspirado. This is nice. Yesterday I did Star Wars in the morning while I was working, listening to Star Wars stuff, and then I did like 5 hours of Metal Gear Solid synopsises. And then when I was finished, I actually watched what is the game called? Bloodborne. Someone had upscaled it to like 4K. I was watching some of those sequences, and then one other game. I think it's by the same company that made Bloodborne. The really hard game. Dark Souls? Is that what it's called? Oh, the graphics are so good. It's so badass. This is really awesome. Okay, we are almost done with this. Yeah, this is just kind of like more of a chill hang. I don't... Alright, I know with Star Wars, people can get super deep, but I wouldn't consider myself that knowledgeable of a Star Wars fan. You know, I out of respect for people that really, really know Star Wars, I would say that I'm like way in the shallow end of that pool. I know a lot, but not to the level of like again. I just think of like the YouTubers that can break this stuff down. Like, just it's insane. This is nice, nice drawings. I actually really like this. These middle panels are really, really well orchestrated. This whole page is actually kind of nice. This is the only thing that looks weird to me, is this helmet. This Vader is a little, kind of like a little bit of a weird shape. It's like, I don't. I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to do like a side view, but this not a side view. I think it's kind of more of like he's looking out, but it ends up looking like a side view. But then the profile of that isn't looking right. Those are cool. Chewy. He looks like he wants to get food. I don't know why. That's my first thought was Chewie's like he's like, we need to stop and get pizza or something before we do this. Oh man, look at that. This is really cool. I kind of like the style of art it's neat. The Jack Kirby thing kind of works with the look, and this is really cool. I love the angle that he's got the X-wing at, and this is nice too. And this looks awesome. Yeah, really, really cool. Kaboom. There's a lot of text in this comic. I looking at it now, the fact that I was interested in typing all this out, this would take a lot of work. None of these pages have like a little bit of dialogue. In fact, credit to Chaykin for laying something out so well that has this much dialogue, because this is really heavy with like probably movie dialogue, of course. But yeah, that's not easy to do. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna get into the Al Williamson stuff for 2 issues. Should be fun. I actually have collected editions of these, like in trade form. Don't peek. Don't peek, friends. God, right when I started the video, I spilled coffee all over my office. So the first thing I had to do was clean before I even started the video. Alright, so here's the cover. This is issue number 1. This is called Classic Star Wars. My apologies that I had the title wrong. We've got Al Williamson on the art chores with Archie Goodwin writing it. Pretty cool cover. I have this toy. Like, I bought it back in when I was at Wildstorm. I have a Millennium Falcon too. Actually, I did actually pick up a lot of stuff that I really wanted as a kid that I couldn't get at the time when they started to re-release a lot of the toys. If you watch my Comic-Con walkthrough, we saw the Jabba sail barge, the huge one, at someone's booth. Oh my god, it was incredible. That whole thing was amazing. It went underground, the whole thing. It was awesome. I need to go back and watch that because that was incredible. The guy was so nice too. The convention wasn't open yet, so I was able to go in without like a huge bunch of people there. It's nice colors. I like how simple it is. Now these are reprints, so it's the kind of reprints that I'm not a huge fan of in terms of like probably they get kind of, I call it bitmappy, but you see it's very like everything is so pixelated, so it loses a little bit of sort of the subtleties that someone like an Al Williamson would have with his drawings. So Archie Goodwin, writer, Al Williamson artist, Steve Buccellato colorist, Nina Bennett editor, Al Williamson cover artist, Barney Todd, Disney, and these were doesn't have the date on these. I want to say these were in the 90s, or at least that's when I first saw them. All right, let's go. This is pretty cool. I kind of like this. This is nice too. He's doing some really good, like a lot of shadow on things, but it's really looking nice. This is great too. The hand holding that gun, man, it's kick ass. This is awesome. Yeah, really, really nice page. He's got this down, man. He's like, Al's such a stud with those kind of clothes. This is nice. Really, really good shot, actually. Man, it's great. This is really good, too. Damn, dude. Man, Al is crushing it. Let's see. Okay. His Chewbacca is more on point too. You can see it just definitely looks more like Chewbacca. Now, I mean, Al obviously would have been able to even probably do DVD rips at this point if he did this in the 90s. So at the very least, he could have a videotape of it where that would help with reference and stuff like that, where Chaykin may not have had the everything is easily accessible. Again, I'm not 100% sure what year these were done. So I could be wrong on that, but my guess is... I always got the impression that Williamson used a little bit more reference in his work too, so his accuracy most times would be more on point. It's not to say that he couldn't draw without it, to be clear. I'm just saying that, like, I think he would ground stuff with realistic. He's really good with these kneeling poses. It's really interesting to see because he keeps it very naturalistic. He's got this nice curve to the like limbs and stuff like that. It really looks good. I noticed it with that Han Solo down shot. This is cool. Okay. He keeps putting, like, I don't know if they're pterodactyl, like they're like small pterodactyls. Probably it has a different name. Mini dactyl. Ooh, look at this. Yeah, he really is nailing this. That bent leg, that's really good. It's just like a nice subtlety that he's using. I like the way he renders the boots. What's neat about these two is I don't really know what to expect. Like when we look at the second issue, I'm assuming it will be a completely different story. So it'll be kind of fun to see what he's up to with the next one. This is pretty cool. Oh man, those are cool. Space. Such a trip. Will we ever know or understand the universe? I don't know. I took astronomy in college. It was too much. It frustrates me that we don't know. Does the universe go on forever? Is it a loop? Is it a figure eight? What is it? I need to know. It is frustrating, though. Maybe we're in the Matrix. It's possible. Who's this guy? He looks like he's in like the wrong comic almost. The bread too. I just picture like just make him Ant-Man, right? Nobody wears that bright a red in Star Wars. At least not on any of the planets. Some of the bad guys do. Actually, my favorite the red Imperial Guard guys are so cool looking. Well, then it was interesting. So I was hired to do a Star Wars piece. It fell through, just because the company changed hands. But I was actually given a bunch of reference for I think one of the last Star Wars movies before it had come out. It was like NDA City or non-disclosure agreement. Yeah, NDA. Yeah. But it was interesting. But yeah, I saw a bunch of the designs for the movie before it had come out. But those red I don't know what they're called, but the red not the guys with the lightsabers, but the red guys that fought in that one movie. Like there was a bunch of them. They're almost like ninja stormtroopers or something. I can't remember. It was pretty cool though. It felt neat to be able to like see something from a movie that hadn't come out yet, and it was actually some other reference too. Now that I think of it, that whole like that scene with all the armies and the thing, and it's all red and white like in the snow. It was a bummer that it fell through, but the company was like owned by one company and then ended up being owned by another, and just sort of during that transition just kind of didn't happen. This is nice. Okay, I got one more page. What's what we've been seeing? This is really cool. I like stuff like this. Actually, it's funny because it has a little bit of a Hal Foster vibe here and there, occasionally when we're looking at it, which is kind of neat. Okay, we'll do one more book and then I should get going. I'm gonna try to work. The more I work, the quicker this thing is done. It was funny because I was nervous. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was getting nervous about being done because I was like, oh man, like I don't have a backup plan. Like I'm all in on this crowdfunding book thing, and then now I'm just excited. So it's funny how it shifted because the fear turned into more like anticipation and excitement. This is nice. I like this piece. I assume this is Han Solo, although it just looks like sort of like a dad dressed as him. I don't know why, but it just doesn't he doesn't look heroic enough. He's just like a dude. Kind of like the colors, to be honest. It's a little wild. I don't like this airbrush area right here, but the flat colors actually kind of look cool to me. This just doesn't feel like part of the other colors. This kind of works. Okay. Credits look about the same. More flying lizards. So I guess it is kind of continuing the story. I didn't realize it was like an ongoing thing. These weren't strips for the newspaper, were they? I can't remember. Maybe they were. No, they don't seem to be laid out that way. Because we've had some splashy images. This is cool. I like stuff like that. The gray looks actually really neat too. I like that. It's funny because I like this, and I like the panel overall. This is a little kind of nondescript. I'm not a huge fan of this character's head, though. I don't know. It's a little too much for me. It's getting a little too sort of Muppet-ish. Oh, this is really cool. Yeah, Al was really good, man. It'd be kind of neat to pick up a piece of Al Williamson, like a sketch or something someday. I mean, I know he's deceased, but I mean, like from an art dealer. It'd be kind of interesting. I'm trying to think if I've seen any of his art in person. I feel like I must have, but it doesn't. Nothing is standing out to me. I'll have to like get Comic-Con this year. I'll have to maybe look for that. I'm trying to book San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, I definitely can get a table and stuff like that, but I prefer to get a hotel. So I don't know what's going to go on with that. Worst case scenario is I may go like one day. So if I do that, I won't have a table, but I might sign for the Joe Satriani book and then shop. This is really cool. We'll see. I wasn't convinced that Comic-Con would happen. I wasn't sure. Chewie's hair. There's our little frog-looking guy, lizard. He's like a gecko. All right. It's interesting. I hadn't really because he is putting a lot of shadow on the clothes, but it's interesting to see this face so shadowed. And that could be another thing with like a license thing where they wouldn't like a character's face in like shadow, like in certain circumstances, like the hero. Oh, especially if you have the actor doing feedback too. Holy cow, that's probably a nightmare. Having like, so it's like your company, like we'll just say like say you work for Boom, but for Boom you're gonna do whatever, some title. So it's like you've got your Boom editor, you've got the company editor. There might be 3 or 4 people like that. If again, if an actor is involved or multiple actors where they're gonna have approval, you could have a lot of eyes on your stuff and everybody's like chiming in. It's like I need to be bigger in the panel. I need to be smaller in the panel. Put me up front. My character's more important. This is cool. Asteroid. Oh, so cool. Yeah, his Vader is very on point. This looks pretty cool. It's a little like stretched in this, and you can see. Do you see the helmet? I mean, I know that you guys know this if you're a Star Wars fan, but you see how it's different. This is interesting. Okay. Wow, look at this pal. This is really cool. Damn. This guy's having a bad day. This is nice. This is cool. Very cool. Handsome old guys. Fancy droid or table. if you hear like a windy fan thing, it's my computer. When the OBS is running, sometimes my computer will try to cool itself down. It's not super loud, but this is nice. Pretty cool. You can see though how like these reproductions, there's a lot of like grit in them. A lot of grit. All right, we're getting to the end here. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in. Again, this was a little goofy, a little casual. I apologize if I was too corny in the video, but it was just for fun. And I'm excited, you know what I mean? Like I said, I went from kind of like, oh my god, like this is gonna be so scary. Like I always in my mind I picture like, you know, like when you stage dive, if you're like if you were falling backwards off of a stage, it's like you're just like here you are falling, and you're just like, I hope my fans will catch me, or whatever you want to call it, readers. But yeah, it's a little scary. Like, oh man. But anyway, all right. So you guys have a great day. That was fun. We gotta get our Star Wars on. Like I said, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I don't spend a lot of time with it right now, but whenever I go back to it, I always enjoy it, and it's always fun to go through all the different designs and characters, and just it's really good for your imagination. So, all right, you guys have a great day. I'll be back. And I try to shoot a couple Patreon videos this week. I might not do another YouTube video though until I'm finished with Crystal Planet. I like I said, my goal is to be done by Friday, and I have 4 pages, which I should be able to do by Friday. It just depends if they all take over a day, then it can spill over into Saturday. I would definitely be done by Saturday though. There's no way if I don't finish by Friday, I'll make sure that I'm done by Saturday. So we'll see. I think there's no pages that aren't 7 or 8 panels. The guy just didn't write the story that way. It's very rare that there isn't. This last issue has probably the least amount of panels in terms of per page, but most of them are 7, 8. But I know I have one with a bunch of the bad guys on it that will take a while because there's probably like 30 or 40 characters on it. It's just like, even if you do it fast, if each character takes 30 minutes, 40 characters, I mean, you do the math, it's like 20 hours. It's a lot of work. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.